See what we got going on here. Copper sulfate from last year. That's 1 pound of copper sulfate. This is some good tape. That's what that is. Good night, Liv. Alright, this is more. So we got another thing of copper sulfate. And another thing of copper sulfate. And we got a big bag of manganese. Don't tell me about the wrong dang thing. Well, I don't know how I done it, but somehow my brilliance ended up ordering magnesium sulfate instead of manganese sulfate. I needed 5 pounds of manganese, not magnesium, and I knew that I needed manganese, and I don't know why. I'm pretty sure I put manganese in the cart, but something happened. I can't remember what happened. I got distracted or something, and had to go back and redo it. And I guess on the redo, I accidentally put magnesium in there instead of manganese. Oh well, 5 pounds of manganese is only $10.50, and I'm sure eventually I'll need the magnesium. So whatever. But anyhow, we've got copper sulfate. We've got 3 pounds of it here. One of them, like I said, was from last year. The leftover from last year, and we got this now. So we got that. We got our borax for our boron. We have 7 insect, does 10,000 square foot, I think. Yeah, 10,000 square feet. I use that in my patches, in my giant pumpkin patches, because last year I got hit with some worms and some corn maggots or whatever they're called, corn worms, whatever they got, come up in the soil. Anyhow, they killed one of my plants that I had promised Terry Gross that I would grow. It was 1461, and they killed it. And so it ended up growing the 1965 there in its place. But I don't like promising somebody to grow something and then it not going through. So this year, I want to make sure that that does not happen. So that will be going in my patches. Now, if you go to Rural King, and or anywhere, I guess probably you need to check. But Rural King, they've got this bag for $6.99, and they have a double size bag of this. Okay, so it takes care of 20,000 square feet, and they're wanting what was it, $15.99 for that? Let's see, that's 7. Yeah, $15.99 for that bag. So you can get 2 of these bags for $14, or you buy one of those bigger bags that's double this size for $16. Now, anybody with any common sense is going to realize, well, you buy the 2 bags for $14 versus 1 bag that's $16. But they get you like that. So be careful of your pricing, okay? Just check everything. Check everything. Don't just grab it and toss it in there. Look at it and look at the one beside it and say, what's the difference here? And I'll guarantee you're going to find some price differences like that. So that's just some helpful tips for everybody during this gardening season. They're planning on you wanting more and grabbing that bigger bag and just looking at the $15.99 and not thinking about it being $6.99 for that bag, and so and you can get 2 for 2 bags of that for cheaper than you can the big bag. Anyhow, we got that. Then over here on this side we've got gypsum, 40-pound bag of gypsum right there. Let's see here, move around here a little bit. And so we got 40 pounds of gypsum there, And this is perfect for gardening and lawns and restore the soil and all that good stuff. And damage from the road salt that occurs. I have a pretty high salt content in this for some reason. I do not use a lot of fertilizer that, like commercial fertilizer. I use a lot of organic stuff. I only use the other stuff to mend with, and I'm slowly, gradually getting away from that. But my soil here is clay soil, so um, trying to get that turned into a viable living soil has been quite the challenge here. I'm not going to lie. So we do have to use some of the commercial fertilizer. What? So anyhow, this will help that. Now, it will add calcium, and I'm going to tell you right now, I have got a ton of calcium. I'm not going to show my soil tests on here, but if you want to know what my soil test was, I recommend that you email me at babydrill2119 and in the subject put soil test. And I can give you a copy of my soil test. You can see what my ranges were, but just know this: I was high for calcium and stuff. So you just know that. Now, the only reason why I'm not showing that right now is a lot of things that I'm going to do this year are going to be very secretive, quiet. I don't want to share a lot of things. I'll share a ton of information with you guys, sure, how to grow it and all that stuff. But there are going to be certain aspects of this that I'm going to be withholding. I'm going to try to be as quiet and as secret about things as possible. And the only way you're going to know a lot about what's going on is if you're my good friend and you know it, because I've told you, or you fly a drone over my house. No, seriously, if you guys want to know something, feel free to ask. I'll tell you. Or if it's something I don't want to, broadcast uh, to everyone, you can email me and I'll let you know. Mainly the reasons why I'm going to be a little bit quieter about some of the things that I'm doing. Some things are repetitious. Everybody knows to do it if you've been growing a certain amount of time. Other things like my soil tests and stuff like that, um, we try to keep those things back from the competition. And it's not to hurt the new growers. And so if you're a new grower and stuff, hey, or one of my friends, I'll definitely tell you. But we're not going to discuss it on video. So got that. And then we have our lime, which brings me to my next issue, which was there's my lime. It's pelletized limestone. Last year, I got the wrong lime, I think. Could be wrong, but I thought it was the right lime. It seemed to be the right lime, but I may have gotten the wrong lime. So I needed a little bit of lime this year. Not much, just a little bit to bring that up. Last year I had a really acidic soil, and so we want to continue that gradual swing of pulling it out of acidic and into the more relaxed range of 6.8, 6.5, 6.8. And so we just need a little bit of lime, and we're going to be putting that down on the main patches and the other patches as well. But you want to be careful. Let's talk about the lime real quick. You want to be careful that when you buy lime, you are, especially if you're going to be changing the pH, the pH, you want to make sure that you get the correct lime. And from what I was told, this lime can break down much faster than some of the other limes that are sold, like the barn lime or whatever you want to call it. Supposedly that could take quite a while to break down, and also you want to do gradual. You do not want to. You do not. Cecil Weston says you do not want to swing a really up big thing of this at one time. So what I mean is if you got a soil test and your soil test says this year that you're at 5.5 or something of that nature, right? Or 5.8 or 5.9. What and you need a 6.8. You're going to want to put that lime down gradually. And so next year you might test and you might be at 6.2, 6.5, whatever, right? And so you know, if you put a little bit down. Now, if you put a lot down to try to swing that really fast, that really quick swing of nutrient, or I mean of pH change, you could essentially go way on the other side of the spectrum if you put too much lime down. So be aware. Let somebody who knows soil and knows how to do a soil calculator run your soil tests and tell you what you need, because if you don't, you are jeopardizing having a major swing upwards and being, you know, your pH being, you know, too alkaline then and not acidic enough, and that will hurt you as well. So just don't put a ton of this down. Do a gradual, build it up over the next few years. Clay, from what I was told, is very difficult to get that soil pH balanced. It's just one of the more difficult ones that's out there. Now, the other thing you want to check, and the reason why we don't need the magnesium for this application, we would have needed magnesium had it not been for this lime. And because this right here is how do they say it, dolomite lime or dolomitic lime, okay, this has some things in it already. So you got CaCO is 82%, your calcium is 33%, your magnesium is 3%, and your calcium carbonate equivalent, your CCE, is 92%. Now do not take the CCE for the CEC. So your calcium carbonate equivalent is not the CEC, which is your cation exchange capacity. Don't confuse the two. They are completely different, but very similar in the way that they are abbreviated. So don't confuse that. But this is the reason why I don't need the magnesium. Now, had this not had magnesium in it and not been dolomitic lime, I would have needed the magnesium that we bought, or I would have needed a different type of magnesium to put down, like Epsom salts. You could put Epsom salts down in order to get that magnesium that you are requiring in your soil. So keep that in mind as well. The next thing I want to talk about real quick is this. Yes, it is boron. Now, I use boron from Opulent Blends, and guys, it is a fantastic boron. It really helped push everything that I grew last year. The thing is it's a more a foliar feeding application. You can drench it; it's drenchable, and it will be up to, you know, through the roots and things. But in order to change the soil, you can't really use those liquid types of fertilizers to change your soil. And so, hey, quit digging all that. Don't dig all the sand up. That's where I'm going to put your pool back at this year. If you dig all the sand up, we can't put your pool down. Don't you want your pool? Okay. Anyhow, um, sorry about that. So that, with that being said, you got to take and use this kind right here, which is for all intents and purposes, it is a powder, pelletized, you know, whatever, fertilizer, basically. All right, and this will change your boron. Okay, yes, it's called borax, but it has boron in it, and it will change the boron. Yes, ma'am. Jaden can. Jaden can. Tell Jaden to do it. Yes, he does. Go tell him to do it. All right. So you want to use this for your borax. All right, or your boron. Excuse me. It is a boron. Okay, you can use it for boron. All right. So, and though they call it borax, it is boron. And we got our scale here. So this is the other thing I want to talk about real quick. You're gonna want a good scale. All right. You're gonna want to make sure that you got a good one. You got a nice level place to put it on, and you're going to be weighing that. I'm going to show you how to weigh all that here in just a minute, because there are, you know, every square, every patch has X amount that they need to put down, and and so we're not going to talk about how much gypsum I'm putting down or how much of the lime that I'm putting down, but we will go over how much of the copper and the borax that we're putting down. We will have to go back in a day or so whenever we get the manganese in. We'll have to put the manganese down, and I'll have to put some other amendments down as I get them. But I wanted to get the lime and the gypsum down today because those things take a while, and so does the copper. It takes a while to kind of break down and get in the soil and start to work. So we can just kind of go over it and put it all down today. And we can also put down our insect killer and start to kill those insects out of that soil, so that whenever we plant out in the next week or two, we don't have any issues with that. So with that being said, I'm going to go on ahead and get this stuff set up. And then once I get this put up in there, we'll start going over this and how to weigh all that. All right, and I'll bring you back, guys. So let's finish this up. All right. So we need, for this one, we need 1.2 pounds of copper. So we'll put this on here. Turn that on. Put this on, and we're going to zero it out. Okay. And that is zeroed. Now, 1.2 pounds of copper on this. These bags are 1 pound, so but you want to make sure, just make sure, okay? So that's actually 1.2 pound right there. So, all right, 1.1, 1.2. Saying that that's 1.2 right there. And I need 1.2, like, it's a 1 pound 0.2 is what this is. 1 pound 0.2, and I need 1.2. All right, so need 2 ounces. There's an ounce. There it is, 1.2 pounds right there. So there's the copper for this one. So dump this in, and once we dump everything else in, we'll mix it. And how I mix it is with with this drill right here with an auger on it. And all I'm doing right now is just kind of making sure everywhere in this has some blue on it. That way, in a minute, we'll get it tilled in there. All right, so the next thing we need is 1.1 pound of boron. So let's open up our boron here. Well, maybe. It enhances the cleaning power of your laundry detergent. You know what else it does? It grows some mighty fine plants. Yes, it does. Mighty fine. Boron is extremely important to growing anything, not just giants, but to growing anything. So remember, if you're growing anything, you need boron, whether it's growing tomatoes and corn and all that to eat, or growing giant stuff. So let's 1.1 pound of this. There's a half a pound. There's a pound. Ooh. There's 1.5. There should be 1.1. Oops, messed that up just a touch. Let's dump this back in here a little bit. See what we got there. Whew, goodness. I want about a half pound too much. Okay, there we go, 1.1. So, all right. Now we'll just take this and do 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 do. All right, so there's that. Now we're going to add in the 7 dust here. Put a little bit of that in there, and I'm going to say this here is a 10-pound bag, and for this plot here, I'll probably use about 5 pounds of it. So it is a pretty substantial sized plot. Open it up here without ripping it wide open. And don't make nothing to be opened anymore. They give you all the things, and then they mess, tell you the truth. Let's get a scoop out of there and see what it weighs. Well, it's 2.5 pounds. So 2 of them will make us 5 pounds. We're just gonna put that in there just like so. Alright, I'll get you another one in there. That should be just to go. Want to make sure our pest pressure is nil to none. So, or nil is none, ain't it? Huh. Alright, so now I'm going to roll you around here real quick. Take this. Down here in the deeper end, you can get away with going a little faster, but up there in that shallow end, it starts throwing it all out when you try to go faster, so that's why I was going slow. And again, up here in this end, you go a little bit slower, it just tosses it all over the place. All right, now that I've did the entire yard, I'm going to fill up our spreader here. Thanks to a buddy of mine for getting it to me. All right, now I'm going to move the camera angle. We're going to get to it. Let's do it, Laws. Y'all remember that? Probably not. Yeah, Heavyweights. Ben Stiller, Disney movie back in the 90s. Heavyweights. Do it to me, Laws. All right, guys. So, real quick, I don't walk in here much, especially after I have killed it once during the year. I don't walk in here much at all. Now, after the pumpkins get growing, I really won't walk in there. I walk in there hardly. Oh, I got to get this here fixed. I got to get this cut off and done something with. But that time, the wind just keeps ripping it. Ripping it, ripping it, ripping it. Got some goji berries growing along this here. And those have been pretty good to have. And, well, not to have. We ain't ate them yet, but they've been nice to grow. And well, hopefully we'll get some this year. They handle everything really, really well. They handled the heat well. They handled the cold very well. So if you live in a climate where it gets super hot in the summer, super cold in the winter. I mean, -40 here. We had this, was it -40 and -30? One of the two, -30, -40 we had this year. Done great. And they're already coming back to life. So highly encourage getting them. So get the kids' ball out of here. Like I was saying, we do not step. Now, where did that come from? Who brought my one? I've been looking for that wooden spoon. Had to be Jaden. Oh, I got it on top of the house and over the house. All right, Dynamite. Boy, y'all should have seen that kick. That was awesome. I went over all the way over the house, didn't it? Here, that was cool, wasn't it? Here, you got. Can you take us inside? Tell Jaden to wash it and put it where it belongs. So it's that punter skill I had from school, man. Oh yeah, the punter. We've seen a lot of fourth downs come our way. Had to punt that ball, and you had to be good. Yes, sir, had to be good. I loved punting. It was really a very, very cool and exciting thing, punting the ball. All right, let's see here. I'm trying to get this down here right quick. Come on, baby, come on. All right, here we go. Crank her open. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, it's so stinking soft. The ground's so soft. And if it gets outside of the area, that's fine too, because I generally grow outside of the area. All right, guys. So we've got this patch amended. We do have a few more things that we're going to be adding throughout the week or so, 2 weeks. We're going to be planted out probably about mid-April. So you're seeing this video. You'll be seeing this video in mid-April, and so we're going to be planting out in mid-April. All right. So we have now amended our soils and things, and got everything ready, and yeah, we'll be good. We should be good by mid-April to plant out. So well, yeah, mid-April to maybe the week after mid-April, somewhere around in there, we should be good to plant out. So anyhow, we still need to add a few things, and as those things come in, we will be adding them. We're going to add some blood meal to this, some kelp meal, some feather meal, maybe, if we can't find the blood meal. We'll be adding some alfalfa meal and some other things of that nature to the patch. And then we're going to do a final till. May even broad fork it first and then till it. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, maybe we will broad fork it first and then till it in. But anyhow, we're going to do the rest of the patches. There's no need to show you guys what we do with the rest of them because they're exactly the same way. So we'll do those. We have 4 main patches. If you guys are new to the channel, we have four patches. This is the main patch. It's 1,989 square feet, so 10 square foot short of 2,000 square foot. Of course, my plants, you go back to my videos from last year, you'll see that my plants are actually where you are right there, and kind of out and down and through out there. There's really none of this here that is that you're able to walk through. So I have my tilled part. The plant takes off in this. The pumpkins grow in this, but I let the secondaries come out and sprawl out on the ground, out through here. And to be honest with you, I may need to actually put some nutrients back into that soil out there because of that. I'm sure that my pumpkins are taking some of the minerals and the nutrients out of the soil out there, because I do let them sprawl out. So I probably need to amend some of that a little bit, so so that my plants get the full effect. May need to figure out the square footage of just how far we let them come out. Generally we let the secondaries come out on this narrow end to about right here. Yeah, I think about right in here somewhere. Um, and then they actually sometimes reach up here into the swing set on this end. I've actually let a few of them get to the swing set, are pretty daggone close. Now this spot over here is generally kind of open right in here, probably about a 10 square foot or so is open. And then I have plant. Last year I had the plant come circling back and around. The secondaries did. I curved them back. Once they touched the fence, I curved them back, and then I just kept curving them out. And so they actually grew till about right here. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but there's a cozy coop right here. You can see my hand maybe. But anyhow, there's a spot right here that that I kind of curved them back in. They kind of grew out to here, and then I had my path that went around them and down along the fence line. And down there where the table's at is where I went in on the plants and walked my boards, and I was able to get to this pumpkin that was set right here. There was a pumpkin that grew right here last year, 541 pounds. It was like right about right here, I think, somewhere right in here. I believe it was like right in this area right here. And then our Kinsey pumpkin was grown, I think, right here, probably about right here, I think, is where Kinsey was grown, roughly. That pumpkin will be a pumpkin that is grown every year here from now on, as a reminder and a remembrance of that bright young lady that was taken from us oh so too soon last year. Such a sad and tragic story. But I'll grow that every year now for her parents and for her. So we'll grow. We got Kinsey in there right now growing. She is a 739 cook. Hopefully this year Kinsey becomes a 1,000 plus cook. So we'll see. And then I had the 665, the 958, the 947 was in the second patch over there. That's the long gourd trellis down there on that end where the wheelbarrow's at and stuff. I grow long gourds, got state record, 8 foot, 8 3/4 inches long. You can see that in the videos. Big long gourd, 8 foot tall long gourd. So anyhow, this year shooting for 10 foot. We hope we can make one at least 10 foot. We'll see, but that is the hope. And so anyhow, we'll grow down there on that long gourd trellis. Then we have the field pumpkin patch, the watermelon patch. We have our actual garden, and then we have the corn patch. Sunflowers line this entire fence line, but I think this year I'm not going to do them as heavily. I'm going to put more space in between those giant sunflowers. Couple reasons. One, the spacing was so narrow, I believe it blocked some of the sunlight out once the sun started setting, and actually kind of hurt the watermelon plants, not getting enough sunlight. So we're going to kind of space those out a little bit wider apart. But we'll still grow the sunflowers along through there, giant sunflowers. You can actually see some of the dead ones that we left down there that we did not clean up. No, I'm horrible for cleaning up my patch. I usually just let it set all year and then get to it. Sometimes I clean them up, but last year I was so busy, and then we ended up getting sick. We stayed sick for like months, just trading it back and forth. We were sick all the way through the first of the year, so didn't get a chance to come out here and do that. But anyhow, then I have my corn patch for my giant corn. I also grow giant corn up here on this end, and then we have my patch number 2 that's down there. So the patch that runs along the fence on the other side of the long gourd trellis, where I have my watermelons and my field pumpkins, that is patch 3. Patch 2 is down there on the other end. We grow 3 pumpkins in that patch. We may have to change that to 2 pumpkins this year. I believe last year I grew a 947-pound pumpkin on a 130 square foot plant. Very, very, very small plant. So I believe if we split that, I'll take half. Jaden can take half. I don't think Annie wants to grow this year, but we'll see. Maybe she wants to grow. We'll see. We got plenty of pumpkins if she does. So we'll split that patch, and then patch number 4 is our patch up here at the top of the yard. No, I take that back. I'm sorry. Patch number 4 is the one that runs along the fence. Patch number 3 is the one up there in the front of the yard. That is my giant green squash plants. And so we're going to be growing some giant green squash this year. Just shooting for master gardener, and trying to get that, So last year we grew 2 plants up there. I got a little crazy with some Clonex, and the Clonex really hurt the plants, and they would not set fruit. They'd set fruit, they'd get about that big, and then they would abort. And so this year we're hoping that that is not going to be a problem up there, and we can push those and hopefully get Master Gardener, or at least in the 20s. Last year I finished 49th. That was my second year of growing giants. My first year attempt at growing for the Master Gardener, and we ended up at 49th. Not too bad, I don't guess, but still not the greatest. We had 200% above normal precipitation. We also had 40 hours of direct sunlight that month, and the temperatures was very, very low for July. That all happened last July. 200% above normal precipitation, 40 hours of direct sunlight. Direct sunlight, I mean this right here. And then, we had very, very cold temperatures. So last July was very hard on us. Pumpkins were growing good, and then they just quit. Come mid-August, they all started picking back up. But then at the end of August, they all started doing their nosedive because they were past their time of really wanting to exert themselves and grow like they should. So generally speaking, you have 25 days of outstanding growth. Of course, if you are a new grower, you're going to say, well, my growth, from day 10 to day 20 was extraordinary because I was 100 pounds at day 20. And that, I ain't ever been that big at growing a pumpkin all season long. And so you're right, they do grow exponentially faster and bigger and better than normal pumpkins do. But day 20, that measurement, a lot of growers don't really consider that measurement much. Day 25 to day 50, those measurements are pretty, looked at, pretty well looked at. That's when your biggest growth will come, is from day 25 to day 50. And then you kind of have this arch, that you should slowly start to go down, and stuff. But you'll kind of peak at day 50 on your maximum growth. Some pumpkins are different. Some growers get different things out of their soils and stuff like that. You can grow indoors, which also helps you and stuff. But it's just many, 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 many things, many factors into this. But it's a lot of fun. I encourage each and every one of you to get out there, get your hands dirty, grow you at least one giant. I don't care if it's a giant eggplant, giant cucumber, giant watermelon, giant field pumpkin, giant long gourd, giant bushel gourds that big, 300, 450 pounds, right? Giant pumpkins, giant rutabagas, giant carrots, you name it, there's a giant for it. Giant cabbages, giant leeks, giant onions, giant beetroots. There's tons of those things. I have seeds to many of those things that I have mentioned, excluding some of the root crops. I do not have seeds for some of those root crops because I harvested those and weighed them, planted them back, and then they did not make it in order to go to seed. So I didn't get many seeds from any of my records for those. But I have a record. State record rutabaga is 19 pounds, 4.6 ounces, I think. So very, very, very big. It was actually 19.11 when I pulled it, and then I went and weighed it the following day. But it was 19 pounds, 11 ounces the day before. So lost a little bit of weight. But anyhow, all things considered, we're looking pretty good. We're doing really good. Everything's growing pretty well. Can't complain right now for the first part of April, and so we're happy with what we've got. The weather's been a little wonky. We've had cold nights, warm days. As you can tell, I'm never out here in shorts in April. I'm just going to tell you that now. Just never in April am I out here in shorts. May, maybe, but not in April. This year, April, t-shirts, shorts has been the attire. But you know, we don't know how long that'll last. Usually wake up and there's frost on my yard. So it is what it is. You know, nothing you can really do about it. You just kind of battle through it. That's why I say maybe mid-April we'll be planting. I don't know. We'll see. So anyhow, guys, any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and comment them down below. You're free to email me anytime. You can also message me on our Facebook page, Heavenly Hills Homestead. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as well. So please go over and follow us on all those social media platforms. We would love to have you. Guys, we appreciate you watching. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow right here in the Hollers and Hills, West Virginia. Peace. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities.
Don't forget to smash that like button. That notification bell. Don't get the
Good job. Here you go. Thank you.
Don't get the
Don't forget to share. Yep. There you go. Good job. And subscribe.